Okay, for those of you who are watching, if you're connecting with us right now, we are in the process of going live onto our Voice of E-commerce page. So that has just happened successfully. And I have to turn my volume down. There we go. So before I introduce our speaker, I just need to make sure I've got everything showing as it should be. And normally I have to admit this shows side by side, and it's the first time it's up and bottom. I don't know what happened there. Do you see that too, Christina?
Yeah, I'm seeing myself on the top and you on the bottom.
Yeah, I've never seen that happen before. But in either case, so hey, welcome everybody. This is Ann Sieg with the Voice of E-commerce, which is the public broadcasting arm of the E-commerce Business School. And our goal here today is to inform, educate, and inspire the evolving e-commerce entrepreneur. I'm thrilled to have you here. So we're going to help you take your business to the next level with this edition of the Voice of E-commerce. And specifically today is a case study. Okay, I'm getting a note that publicly we are showing side by side. So I guess that's just between the two of us, Christina. But I'm so excited because as I work with entrepreneurs, I truly believe some people are a little more innately wired towards entrepreneurialism and others not. Now, not to say that one can't acquire those attributes, but as you become aware of them, then you can seek to possess those attributes. All to say, Christina has very distinct what I call star power. You have those qualities, Christina.
Thank you.
So I'm really excited to have you here today, and we're going to dive into some really amazing information, which I have to say, ladies and gentlemen, we've been doing some pre-show talk conversation for about the last 10, 15 minutes, and I'm like, okay, we're going to get you back on, Christina, because there is so much stuff we have to cover that is going into brain science and physiology and really some really cool, awesome conversations that I think all of you would enjoy. So what we're going to do, again, Christina possesses a lot of star power, meaning these attributes that she brings to the table that lend herself really well towards to being an entrepreneur. Let's begin, Christina, with our audience getting to know you a little bit. You're just starting to tell me your background about as a refugee from Laos and such, and let's learn about that. What's your background? How did you get to the U.S.?
Thank you, Ann, first of all, for having me on. It's such a privilege. And yeah, I came to the United States late 1980, and I came as a refugee from Laos. And it really was a life-changing, event for my entire family. I always feel very thankful for my father to have the wisdom of basically unplugging us from our family, our root in Laos. And basically we went across the Mekong River on a little boat, and then was in Thailand, lived in a refugee camp in Thailand for a while. And then when we received the notification from the US that they will accept us as, accept us into a country, I mean, it was truly a blessing. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, as an entrepreneur to this day, I'm so grateful for having that opportunity, and that opportunity, it's really what people outside of the U.S. are constantly seeking to come here. And I often find that many people don't realize how much they've taken it for granted being living in the United States. So I was educated here, and I graduated from college and worked as a CPA, and then subsequently worked as a finance manager for a while. I grew up in New York City, actually. But I think life as a corporate warrior would have been the path I would have continued to pursue, because as a first generation immigrant, we learned that we need to work hard and, get a good job, and you'll be set for life. But when I was going down the path and I thought my life was going to be just that corporate career path, then my kids came along, and I felt the need that I need to be with them and stay at home with them. But I didn't want to give up my career. So I made a transition from a full-time employee to a part-time consultant, and eventually decided that I want to just be a work-at-home entrepreneur. And since then, I've been exploring different opportunities, and it was truly a process, you know, mentally going through the process of having a regimented schedule where you report to work, you get your work done, and I have a tremendous amount of work ethic. I probably work more than what they pay me for, because I take work home as well. But I knew that that wasn't the path that I wanted. And within me, I was seeking something greater. I wanted to not just do a job, but I wanted to do something that's meaningful. So when I leave this planet, I know that I've done something worthwhile. So that's really my drive. And then I think when my kids came along, that was really kind of like the kicker. That's kind of like the catalyst to motivate me to make that drastic change. And I'm thankful for the support of my husband, my family, to say, go and do it. And I wouldn't say that it was easy, but it's definitely a lot of learning along the way and making some sacrifices and trade-offs. So yeah, so in essence, I mean, I'm continuing to build my, I have a private label business that I'm continually building as well. And I have to say that it's, I would not regret, you know, any of the steps that I've taken, but it's learning from the mistakes and learning as you go along. So
there's so many takeaways with what you just shared there. I do need to give a little bigger frame of reference here is that you are a member of our e-commerce master's program. And what comes to mind as you were sharing about your work ethic and regimen is I do these accountability reviews every week as part of the EMP program. People fill out an accountability report. It then gets put into this really big report, and I do a video review. And you really stood out. And I did my review 2 days ago, and I have to get it posted on the Facebook page, but it is in the back office. But all to say, I had to highlight and showcase your accountability report, as well as two others that come to mind that showed tremendous structure, discipline, and regimen. And I tell people as an entrepreneur, meet your new boss. You're the CEO, and you're accountable to none other than to yourself. And so as you shared your story of struggle and traveling the Mekong River, it gets me a little emotional because I was just reading about this, and my parents just watched this really big documentary about the Vietnam War and such. And as maybe it was, I can't remember where I read the article, if it was tied into that or not, but just there are people waiting to kill you as you're trying to cross the Mekong River. And when you hit the banks after you crossed, they were waiting to kill you. And so it's very profound. I would like you, because discipline, I believe, is such a core aspect of being a successful entrepreneur, that you have to learn to quickly prioritize and sacrifice. I think it's a known factor, and correct me if I'm wrong, but this is from an American perception, and my son does live in China, that the Asian culture uniquely is a highly disciplined culture. Just for the benefit of us who have been raised, born in America, and I do feel overall there is this tendency to lose perspective on this amazing gift we have here in the US. When people gripe and complain and all the big fault finding with the US, and the reality is people are in earnest to come here for the freedom we have. But if we haven't experienced not having freedom, such as you, it's hard for us to appreciate and therefore not really put in our all. So back to that about the Asian culture, that's my takeaway. They come to our universities and boom, they're at the top because of the discipline. Can you speak to that? And do you have any insight on that?
Yeah, and I think, yeah, that's a great question. Because my parents raised me in, you know, basically in a very Asian culture sort of way, which is kind of what my parents say is the right path. And you'll see that's especially, I mean, I could speak to the Chinese culture, but you have to keep in mind too that I am kind of, you know, pretty far removed from the current development, let's say in China, you know, in terms of cultural trend. But if we talk about traditional value, you know, traditional value of respecting the teacher, respecting elders, you know, and basically what the authorities say is right, then it's right. So we're not taught to challenge the authority, so to speak. So it's a more hierarchical structure in an Asian, you know, way of upbringing. And having grown up here, I kind of have the benefit of both. You know, I think in the Western education system where it's a lot more kind of equal playing. So, and I could see it in raising my kids. And my husband is actually born and raised in America, but he's of, you know, Asian descent as well, but his thinking is much more westernized. So, you know, oftentimes, you know, he might joke that I'm the tiger mom, you know, in terms of strictness and discipline and a certain hierarchy, which was, you know, kind of, that I was growing up with. But I also learned to adapt to, you know, creating the space for creativity, for, you know, entrepreneurism, you know, that type of thinking that's not, as easily accepted, I think, in an Asian culture. But I think things have changed a lot. But if we talk about traditional value that's been passed down from Confucianism, and then there's the influence of Buddhism and Taoism, you know, Chinese culture is really well blended. But we're talking about really the hierarchical structure. I don't think that will change. And I remember, and as a matter of fact, actually, teachers probably gain the same prestige in Chinese culture as the same as doctors and lawyers in America. So, yeah, and I think, and the discipline comes from, you know, it's a very structured way of learning things. You know, you go through the method. This is what was been taught before. This is how we're going to implement it. And this is what you're going to do and follow. So, you know, it was, I believe there was a Wall Street Journal article that was really excellent that was comparing an expat sent to China, and then her kids did not like to eat eggs. And she came home, the child came home and told the mom, the teacher made me eat eggs and I don't like to eat eggs. And she asked her, how did she do it? She spanked me. And she said the teacher spanked her, right? Which is, you know, horrifying for, you know, in the US. That's not something that you would do, but it was totally acceptable norm there, because the belief is this is what you need to do to get the child to develop a certain way. So,
that's fascinating. I wanted to hit on that because, like I say, with your accountability report, I'm just telling the other EMP members, yours is extremely methodical. And I'm really impressed by that. Let's talk about, because when we spoke about a week ago or so, there was a journey, a pathway to getting here, which does tie into your private label product and how you develop that. But here you do have a part-time business, a business in a business, doing your book selling business, book flipping through Amazon to fund your bigger business. And that's that helps create this cash flow for your bigger business. And that's what we tell people through our book flipping profit system training program created by Brian Cummings and our Shop Your Way to Wealth programs. Each help create that cash flow to support whatever it is you want to do. So maybe talk through that journey and how those two have worked in tandem for you.
Actually, I have to say, really thank you to you and Brian for, you know, having that email out about when you promote the book flipping profit system. I was, you know, I had this private label business, and it took a lot of my time and investment into it that I needed to. It's more of my long-term business plan. But however, the cash flow isn't immediately available. So let me just give a little background on my private label business, which kind of could lead into why I decided to take the book flipping profit system. So a couple years ago, I started out a partnership with several people, and we took this product that has a very unique ability to and I was driving it in terms of making it more readily available to the general public. So in order to do that, we had to find manufacturers to help us customize these products. So through one of my contacts, it's actually my business partner's contact in China. She connected us, and then we actually went to Shanghai and met with him and basically worked out the plan that this is what we needed to do, and we came up with an agreement. And it was actually my first time in China, considering I'm of Chinese descent. So
interesting. How about that?
Yeah, because so it was very interesting, and I'm fluent in Mandarin because my parents raised us speaking Mandarin at home. So I was able to converse and then also communicate in terms of what we needed. And then so we developed a plan to take these raw materials that we had into customizing all these products. And then subsequently, I communicated with the manufacturer just through WeChat. And as a matter of fact, I was mentioning to a fellow EMPer about the prevalence of WeChat in China. It's like Facebook here is WeChat in China.
Right.
And so that was my first exposure to the communication with manufacturers in China. So we communicate by WeChat, and I would send product details and plans, as well as the promotional marketing material. I had to do all the designing so then they could put it on the packaging for my products. So we were doing that just via WeChat. It's pretty amazing. Yeah, there's one of my products, and actually those are my daughters on the cover.
Yeah.
So as an entrepreneur, you use all your resources,
That's
right?
right. That's right. You got it.
Yeah. So I created the whole packaging, and then they slapped it on, and they packaged it up, and then sent it to us. And here is one lesson that I think is valuable to share with everyone, is that and being that I'm taking the marketing funnel class, what I had done was with the instinct that, I feel that this is a product that's going to work, and I've seen it work. I've sold, products like that here. I had the confidence that it's going to sell, but I did not do all the due diligence research into what about the general marketplace? Who am I going to target? It's not a blanket, just anyone you could sell this product to, because some will be more likely to listen to you than others. Right. So you want to look for those people, but I didn't have the marketing research know-how. Right. So I just went ahead and created these products, and, with the LLC subsequently dissolving, so I ended up with my share of the inventory. And that was the challenge for me is, okay, now I got these products. How am I going to sell it? And I don't want to do just one-to-one, person-to-person sales. That is way too slow. And not having a marketing system in place, it's a huge challenge for me. So when I saw your email on the, how to partner up with Amazon to make sales, and I think I saw the Shop Your Way to Wealth first. That started me thinking. But then when you came up with the book flipping system, I thought, wow, because I love books. I mean, as a learner is one of my top traits, and I love to read. I love to just even if I don't know all, don't have the time to learn all of it, I like to be exposed to the concept or new ideas, etc. So I decided to give the book flipping system a try, and I just bought the manual. And I just said, I wasn't sure whether it was going to work for me. Yeah. So I just took a couple of books I had, scanned it. Oh, it looks good based on the criteria in the manual. And I just used the Amazon back office, did all the processing, sent it in. And to me, I mean, that was actually pretty challenging. I think Danita had said one time is, you get the product, and then the biggest hurdle is working with Amazon and see all the requirements that they have, put it in the box, and get it to UPS and send it in. And that is, I think, it was the same challenge for me. But I said, okay, I need to get these 2 books out. And I was surprised. I mean, within probably 2 weeks, the book sold. And that really is the initial snowball that got me to build the confidence that, this probably work. And it looks like there are a lot of sellers out on it. I mean, it's got to work. Right. So my mode in learning is always kind of try to, let me just go on and do it. I don't know all the facts. I don't know all the details, but I just need to go and scan and scan and scan. And I didn't know where to scan. So just based off the suggested resources in the manual. So I went to the library, I found thrift shops, and some were good, some were just duds that I would not revisit again. But I created a database of where I've been and what was the results. So by doing that, it helps me track what I was doing. And I just want to get my experience as much as possible in as short of a time as possible in, so then I could really ramp up my learning curve. Because I really have zero e-commerce experience coming into the space. So I knew I have a lot to learn. So I feel that the quicker I can learn, the quicker, it's almost like the quicker you fail, the quicker you'll be able to move forward. And that was the mode I was putting myself in. So, so within about 6 months, I mean, I have to say in 6 months, I was just looking at my stats this morning. I sold about 1,300 books for about 20,000. Nice. We're talking from zero to 20,000 in 6 months. And I recouped it all my, because subsequently, as I was doing more scanning, I was learning that I had more questions, more and more questions. So I said, I need support, I need help. And I think it was great that there was the Facebook support group, but I knew there was a higher level of learning, which is through the workshop. So I decided, let me just invest some more and then, and really get my questions answered. And I started investing in tools and equipment that would quicken my process, because I'm very system oriented. I can't, it's very hard for me to function when it's piecemeal, and I need to put all pieces of the puzzle kind of like together. Okay, how, and then how is this going to fit into my daily schedule so then I could make it work for me? So that's what I did. And really, I mean, it really paid off for me in terms of having participated in the workshop and then quickly go out and implementing it. And I think for about, in 1 year, because I started on April 1st, April Fool's Day, and I sold 3,100 books for about 46,000.
Awesome.
Working part-time. Because I was still trying to figure out what to do with my private label business. And because that's really my biggest challenge and hurdle. And then when you came out with, you know, the whole new course through the EMP with building marketing funnel, I knew that's where I needed to be. I knew that's what I needed to do for my product. Because ultimately, I think as entrepreneurs, I mean, our drive is, of course, the financial gain. But I think more importantly is I feel strongly about my product, that it could help people. And it's more of giving people an option. You know, they can make the choice of whether they want to select it or not, but it's giving people an option. And as we were talking prior to the call, is you have said that marketers, you know, our job is to tell stories, that to help people, right? And I think I might have learned that from you even, because I got on your list in 2010. I'm glad I never got off your list. And I think that really speaks to the power of list building. Because here I am 6 years after I bought your product. And then it made a difference in my life. And I have to say the cash flow aspect of it, it's awesome. I mean, with books, because I'm so methodical and I want to just master one thing at a time, I just focus on books. And then now I'm starting to branch out into Shop Your Way to Wealth to add more product portfolio into the mix. But the initial investment had paid off for me in books. And every time I go out and source, I knew money is coming in. I just knew money was coming in. And your skill set is at a higher level. You know, before maybe it'll take me, you know, I could scan maybe 10 books per hour. Now I could do 20 books an hour or, you know, or half an hour, you know, and just be able to do it quickly. So it's just like learning anything, your learning curve, you know, you want to try to master that learning curve as quickly as possible. So that's what I would suggest if anyone want to get into the e-commerce space and just get started doing it. And it's just to do that.
That's a beautiful story of moving forward with the books. It's something that was natural. You love books. and to have that monetization happen, giving you a proof of concept, e-commerce works. And now you're in Build My E-commerce Store is the name of our program, again, headed up by Brian Cummings. And now you're going to learn funnel building. I'm very excited about that you have a product that you put a lot of heart and effort into it, a lot of money, a lot of capital, and now you're wanting to get it out there. I just want to add in to everybody as you're listening, in the comment section below, type in add me, this little commercial break, so that you can get notified of subsequent Voice of E-commerce interviews and announcements and such. Just write in add me. So if you can do that. What would be, I think we have already covered quite a few of the number of tips and strategies. I think one big, you've said so many to encapsulate, but the dedication, the discipline, the structure, the systems, stick with something till you master it, seeing where things fit into your bigger plan and scope. The books, you made that fit into your plan because that has become a cash flow hub for you. Now you're taking part in Build My E-commerce Store because it's going to help get this product out there and a whole line of products. Why don't you go in a little bit about, I was getting super intrigued because I didn't realize I have so much more to learn about your products, but for people to learn conceptually, the science behind this is very intriguing. And we were talking about my whole dry eye condition that I did a Facebook Live on yesterday, and I'm utilizing your product. So why don't you explain a little bit about the science of your product?
Okay, sure. And this is really, the product, because it needs so much education. That's where my marketing funnel really needs to have a lot of it, But I could go into a lot of details, but I'll just give a really, really quick, short overview. So basically, our entire body is made up of cells. And they've done studies where the cells has electrical voltage around it. So a healthy cell has a minus charge of -4 millivolts. Unhealthy cells, or if, let's say, cells from somebody with chronic condition or as severe as cancer, their voltage around is positive millivolts. So in other words, if you think about it, to get your cells back to it being healthy, you need to bring the charge back up to a minus charge. So basically, what my product does is, and you have shown like the eye mask. I have the eye mask, and I have a belt, waist support, and I also have a pillowcase. I mean, what it does, we customize into these products just to make it easier for people to understand. But the basic premise is this: energy is created through various means, and one of them is through friction. So even when you're rubbing your hands like this, you're creating energy. So what this product does is, when it's rubbed against, any item or against your skin, it actually creates a negative charge. So that negative charge is, in essence, just think about it as in like a cell phone. If you use your cell phone all day, it depletes all its energy, and then you need to plug it in to recharge it up. So in a way, our body is really electrical. So when you use this product, you're bringing this negative, energy generated through friction into your body, and then basically recharging your cells to the negative charge that you need. So anytime when you're unwell or if you're sick, that means you need to drill it down to the smallest component, which is your cells. Your cells are not healthy. So you need to allow your cells the charge that it needs for it to be healthy again. And so just imagine if your cells are healthy, you basically will be healthy. So that's, in a nutshell, it's just electrical negative charge generated through friction that could enter your body and help recharge your body. And then another term that's that I would suggest people could Google is just negative ions, which is it's actually very well known in Asian studies, but not here. And this product, the raw material itself, has been around for about 60 years in Asia, and has provided a lot of beneficial effect for people. But then at the same time, we don't want to touch upon how this has cured somebody's condition. But it's really, we want to touch upon the premise that it is basically helping your body rebuild itself, helping your body get healthy itself, letting your body do its own healing by giving the electrical charge that it needs. And what's the beauty about this product is you don't need to charge it. You don't need to plug into an electrical outlet to get that benefit. You just wear it as you move about. It's generating the friction, and it basically your body is constantly absorbing it, just like you're breathing in air. So that's in a nutshell what it does. I know it's a very abstract concept, but it takes a little bit of digestion. But if you think about it that way, and that's what, what I have done in trying to figure out in terms of marketing is how do I make it conceptually easier for people to understand?
Yes.
And as we kind of talked about before the call was just like air, right? You just because we don't see it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. But if I take oxygen out of the room you're in, you will know that it's not there, right? Because so it's the same thing. Energy is all around us, and it's transfer energy from one to the other. And when our yin and the yang are not balanced, you need to bring it back to balance. Yeah.
I'm going to give kind of a big view of marketing to people, and then we're going to come to a close here pretty quick. But I just, so what Christina is talking about here is, because this is a high level concept, which is sometimes part and parcel of something you're selling, is that you need to create metaphors. And we were actually in a staff meeting right before this call and talking about metaphors that we've created, because I sell digital marketing. And when you create a metaphor, people, then they go, oh, it's like that. Oh, okay. And so your example of the air, what we talked about before opening up the call here between you and I was yin and yang. Okay. Most Westerners, we are conceptualized on yin and yang, which is balance. So we all know, oh, okay, balance. Yeah, live a balanced life. And so this concept of the positive and negative ions, that's a yin yang, which makes it an easily accepted metaphor for Westerners to go, oh, yeah, I get that. So just to anyone who is marketing products or ideas in digital marketing, creating metaphors are very helpful. And we were just having a staff discussion about that just a little bit earlier. So we've got different folks listening today. I'm going to guess the majority are in the e-commerce space already, but there could be some folks looking inwards and going, is this viable? Is it, here you transition out of being a CPA, a financial advisor, et cetera. Now you're an entrepreneur, way different world, right? So what can you give in terms of any kind of parting advice, one, those looking inward at this world of e-commerce? What kind of potential does it hold from your perspective? And then correspondingly, those who are in e-commerce, any kind of parting words or advice?
Sure. And I think, as you mentioned, my background was in the finances. And for me to really kind of believe in something and to take action on it, I do my audit and my due diligence, just figure things out to see if it will work. And just like the example I gave, which is putting 2 books out, see if it sells. It still sells, then I go and try to implement it, right? And I know there will probably be a lot of doubters and skeptics, like, will it just work? Because we do get inundated with so many marketing messages. But what I want to encourage is that if you think about it, e-commerce will not go away. It will continue to be a major, major trend in retail. And I really think there is no better time to get into the space. And especially if you're looking for time flexibility, which was really what I wanted, because I didn't want just a 9-to-5 job. I wanted to have flexibility to be there for my kids, but then also create a business that's my own, that makes me, feel the self-worth that I have. So it's really, I think, and because we get inundated with so many marketing courses, I mean, I think if you go do a search on e-commerce courses, you're going to get like, I don't know how many hits on Google, and then how do we know what's good and what's not? Yeah. And I think, I think having been on your list, and I trusted you, that's why I stay on your list all these years. And I know, because I know you provide value. But the other thing was really to get yourself plugged into, and I mean, I would highly recommend just don't even think about it, just do e-commerce business school, because I could speak to it as a testament of the results. Because what you want to have is results. So if you do your due diligence and you're looking in a course, you really want to find courses that are taught by people that have done it. And that's what amazes me. I mean, coming into the community, it's like, you know, all these trainers and even not trainers, but even just program participants, the results that they have achieved. And so for me, it was like, oh my God, they could achieve that. That's the goal I want to try to get to as well. But so first thing is finding courses that are taught by experienced and also a trainer with results. And the second thing is there a community of support? And that's the other amazing thing that I found was that when I first started out, I had questions and I might find it to be silly to ask a question. It seems like everyone's so experienced, but when I do get the courage to just ask the question, I mean, it probably saved me hours of work trying to figure things out myself.
Exactly.
And then when I got plugged into the higher level of the community, then I was even able to get even more, you know, being able to move forward. So I think that's what's important. But I don't want to underemphasize the fact that it's work as well. You really need, just like anything, any pursuit that if you feel strongly enough that you want to do it, you need to be disciplined and be focused and let all the noises fall by the wayside and keep your eyes on the prize, so to speak. And then just go figure things out, ask questions, and just get it done, because we don't know all the answers. And one thing I always remember you saying at the Minnesota events, you don't know what you don't know until until you get started doing, then you start realizing what you don't know. And that's part of that process of learning and getting better.
Yeah, awesome. Outstanding advice. Ladies and gentlemen, this is part one. This is part one of my interview with Christina, because she is now on a path of learning how to build a marketing funnel for her product line. And so very successful with book flipping profit systems. She knows how to be disciplined and focused, etc. And now I know that same level of focus and discipline is going to follow through as you build your funnel for your product line. You realize the gap. Oh, I have a product, but I don't have marketing. Oh, there's a course on it. So I'm excited to track with you on this. And I know for sure we're going to be getting together again and featuring your progress as you're going through our current program right now.
Well, thank you so much, Anne, for having me. And it's really, truly a blessing and a privilege to actually be able to share my experience. And I hope that it does help, people in their journey.
It definitely will. Awesome. Well, thanks, everybody. Do us a favor, share this. I think this is an amazing story. We're going to track with Christina. Give us a like, and we'll see you in our next case study interview. So thanks. Bye-bye, Christina. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Anne. Appreciate you too.